Right, ladies and gents, we've started, right? Okay, guys, as I said, let me repeat myself that today we are doing a kind of an induction training, you know, to explain to you what you need to do as far as your task one is concerned, right? It's quite unfortunate that we don't have an updated task of 2026. We are still using old task. So we're still gonna use the same stuff, the one we've been using for quite a long time. I don't know why we don't have a new one. Right. So as you do know, and I know you know, right, that task being a practical component of your study, of your vocational study per se, let's put it that like that, is very, very fundamental, very, very imperative. It's crucial that you participate in your task, not necessarily just to participate. You must make sure that you do well, right? Because when you look at the composition of your task in respect to your ICAS, it's, it carries the lion's share or the lion in terms of mark allocation, 25%, right? So if you are able to get 20% or not 20%, 80% in your task, invariably you scored 20 over 25. Okay, right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explain to you the task requirement and what you need to do. Right. What we are going to explain now might sound a little bit strange to you from the normal practice. Remember those days, for the past 2 years, you'll be taking home your task, right? You've always been taking it home. Unfortunately, this time around, the system have changed. So all your tasks needs to be done in the class. Does it make sense to you? Yeah. But that shouldn't raise an alarm or be of something that needs to panic you. So don't worry. I'm gonna go with you all the way. I will explain to you what you need to do. Right? Okay. Very quick. So in terms of your task requirement, let me try to explain to you. Right. As I said, this is how it is. Tax one, right? January, 2024. It's not so late. 2024 is not too late. Right? 2 years. I was thinking it's 2023. It's not too late. All right. Just like I've said, as we have it here, we say this is a practical application task that tests your ability to apply the knowledge and skills acquired in the vocational subject. So it's practically oriented, even if it's not happening in the project environment. Listen, don't be distracted. You must focus. So it's going to be happening in the simulated business environment. No, not business environment. Why am I talking of business? In the simulated project environment. Right? You know what I mean by simulated? Just like a project environment. Because we are not really in a project environment, but we want to behave as such, do things as such, right? Just like more or less a project environment. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Because you are blocking one of your ears. How will you hear what I'm saying? Huh? But why are you doing that? You don't support. You must make sure that there is no barrier, you know. to your ears because you're gonna use your ears to hear what I'm saying. Sometimes we like creating problems for ourselves. Okay, that is on its own side, by the way. Right. So as we said, this task is to test your knowledge and skills that you've acquired over the first term period. Right? It's not all the whole year. Because I said it's for the whole year. This one is not for the whole year, it's for the term. Because whatever questions you can find here is based on your first term work. Right? It's not beyond the scope of first term. Right. So we need to test your practical knowledge. As you do know, this is a vocational course. By virtue of being vocational, right? You know what you do now? Just go like this, pass through like this, right? It has started capturing you already. So the system knows you are coming late to the class. It stops now because I'm speaking. The system was deuced. It was disorientated before. Now later it focused. This is AI, artificial intelligence, right? You know about it. That is the latest. We must teach you about AI. Right. Now, yeah, being practically oriented, vocational, we give much priority to hands work, or we call it hands-on activities. So let me go quickly before the period is over. Then the work required from you is an important and compulsory component of your study. You know, then these are the general information. You study the task carefully, note that know what you must do in your own time to prepare for the assessment, and the assessment needs to be, of course, under supervision, right? Then you know the marks and time allocation per subtask and for the task as a whole, which is very important. It will help you to know the extent of requirement, scope, right, of what you are required to do, and for you as well to be able to manage your time, right? Then your lecturer will inform you of the assessment dates, times, and access to resources. Of course, I'm going to inform you, right? Of which we've already started now before the end of the induction training. You should be able to know all these requirements. Individual work is required for each subtask, so there is no group work here, right? If you were aiming for a group work, now you should know there is nothing like a group work. You need to be individualistic in whatever you do. Unless otherwise stated in the task instruction, I don't think there is a kind of a group work. Then use the student's checklist as a guidance on how your work will be marked. Here we're talking about the rubric. The rubric is very important, right? The rubric acts as a GPS, as a roadmap to guide you in terms of the extent of involvement that is required of you. Understand? Njalo. Then you are warned to make sure, or you are required. I hope that thing doesn't stop working. Stop. Huh? Because I must make sure that these people don't send me message. Once I've got a message, stop. It didn't stop. Okay. So you be my observant. So you are the one. Okay. So guys, as we said, reference all information sources. We don't want any situation of plagiarism. You know what we mean by plagiarism? When you use somebody's resources of intellectual properties and you fail to acknowledge, that is what we call plagiarism, or plagiarism, if you will. depending on how you like to pronounce it. But we're talking the same thing, right? Okay, yeah, beware of plagiarism, as you could see it there, and do not copy and paste information from information sources unless it is a direct quote, which is currently reference. You can make use of a direct quote, but you must reference it correctly. I don't know whether you've been taught. Have they taught you how to reference properly? Citations, we call it citations. You've been taught. Huh? Ask- Stop. Is it still working? Oh, that means it's stop. If it doesn't show, that means it's stop. Is that missing? No, it's working. It's all right. It's cool. But I like your observation, right? I like it. You know. So, yeah, you must make sure you avoid plagiarism. It's not allowed. Once they catch you, you plagiarize, you can be summarily dealt with. Right? It's not something that we encourage. Then you must comply with whatever health of safety measures relevant to the subject. Right. Okay, Mrs. Stromberg, thanks a lot. Yeah, you see, Mrs. Stromberg is going to appear on the video now. That is great, man. You see, hey, that's great. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Oh man, thanks a lot. I'm grateful. I will ever be grateful for your continued support. I love it. Yeah, guys. Now we're gonna describe the task, right? Okay. Now the task. We say read the article about helping your community below. It's about community, helping the community. We must always have that spirit of plowing back in terms of helping the community where we are from, you know, because the community, they look after you, and when you've got to a certain level whereby you need to help the community, you mustn't be selfish. You should, imbibe that spirit of plowing. We call it plow. You know how to plow. How many of you know agriculture? That word is from there. You plow back into the community. So, using the information, you must identify a project in your community that you would like to initiate to help in your community. Right? Then you will need to give your community or what? Give your project a title and provide a brief explanation of the chosen subject. You just look for a project of empowerment, right? In your community, then you give it a title, right? Okay, for example, let's say task description. Improving the conditions of community you live in gives a sense of pride and belonging, which is great, right? It gives you that sense of pride and belonging. Most especially if you are the type that give back to the community. You'll be proud of what you do. Then participating in the community service project is a great way to give back to your community. Right. Some of these community projects require the time and commitment to share your skill and ability to improve the community. This is what we call community service. Even at a higher level, if you are looking for a senior lecturer position at the university, it's one of the requirements. They call it community service. If you haven't done anything to help people in the community within your area, it might jeopardize your chance of getting that position. It's a requirement, right? Community service is a requirement these days, most especially if you are applying for a higher position. You cannot be applying for a position of a DG, right? You haven't got some profile of community services you've done, you know. So it's a requirement. It's not something that can overlook. You mustn't overlook it. It's very important. Community service. Here we are talking about project of community service, whereby one can be able to assist people in the community. So in this case, as we said, it's where you can be able to share time and skill, to improve people in your community. For example, you can organize a kind of a tutoring to tutor people in mathematics to improve on their mathematical skills, right? Without requesting money, payment from people in the community. It's something of great. You are sharing your time and the skill with people in the community. You understand what I mean? I know I used to do something of such those days, teaching people mathematics. Although I was not charging, I was charging money, but not a lot, which was a kind of a help. Because if somebody like me was not doing it, who's gonna be there to teach them mathematics? All those kind of stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that it must be something that you don't charge. I think you can charge a reasonable amount, but as long as you are there to render such service and you are not profit, what is driving your motive is not profit making, then we can consider it as a community service project. Right. Can you perhaps think of any community service project you've known about or you've seen? You must have seen some, right? Perhaps you wouldn't know whether they were community service projects. But you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand? Okay. Right. You, hello. I see you. You distracting yourself. Okay. Very good. Now, yeah, we said the ability to improve the community where you live or to make to make life a little better for someone who is less fortunate than you are. You know the pride, right? That is involved, that sense of pride of belonging. When you are able to make a difference in somebody's life. Have you ever thought about that? You see, it's very interesting. You know, that is what will give you that sense of achievement in life. Right. I was reading an article once at a time. One guy was saying that if you consider yourself to be rich, right? The measure, what we could use to measure somebody's achievement in life is about how much, the extent to which you have been able to make changes in people's life, to make a difference in people's lives. Is then you can say you achieve. You can become a billionaire, but if that money you are not using it to make improve other people's life, you are not a billionaire. You see, Steve, the owner of Apple Mac, that guy that said half of his wealth must be given to the poor when he died. He made a will, half, and that guy is a billionaire. Half of his wealth when he died must be given to for charity, to do charity. You see, those kind of stuff. Because if you get to understand that you made money, what are you gonna do with the money again? You need to help people. Right? Are you with me? Here are some ideas of projects you can be involved in, which will inspire a lifestyle of compassion and services to community and those around you. I like this language, right? Lifestyle of compassion. To have compassion. When you look at people, you must have that sense of pityness. Sense of compassion means to have that sense of pityness. You know how to pity somebody and act, do whatever you can do to alleviate or to improve that person's condition. There's one thing to be full of pity, and there's another thing for you to act. Some people, they are full of pity, but they don't act to help. Both must be together. Are you with me? Right. These are some of the projects that you can do. Cleaning up campaigns Cleaning up campaign at your campus. You can organize a cleaning up campaign to clean the campus, something, community, of which you wouldn't be expecting money or something of or anything of financial reward or whatever. Then cleaning cap campaign or cleaning campaign at a park area. Then planning a fun day at a local orphanage or children's home. You could as well plan a fun day, to put smile into the faces of people that hardly smile or that hardly see the opportunity to smile. You can do that. You go to an orphanage. You know what is happening in an orphanage, the condition they are. You can go there, organize a fun day for them, right? Then take them out. I'm not saying you must take them out to expensive areas where you cannot afford. You can do stuff that are within your reach to put smiles on their face. Something, right? Or you can go to old age homes, then you paint their area, look at the wall is dirty and all those type of stuff. You make their place to look nice. Something of charity. Are you still with me? Then collecting perishable food items for a local animal shelter. You go to shops, you know what they do to perishable food that are rotting, that are stale. What do they do to it? They throw it away. You can collect those and look for animal shelter to give it to the animals to eat. Something. Right. Then what else that you can do? You can organize a fun run or work at your campus. You gather your classmates together, whosoever that you wants to get involved. Then you make run, go, like these days we're talking about keeping ourselves healthy. We are talking about awareness every time. Yourself can organize a kind of awareness, right? Fun, for fun making. Then, or you organize a sport event at your campus. You can do that, right? So these are some of the projects we are talking in terms of applying back or improving the life of people in the community. So look at how your task is taking shape now. Then instructions for the task. Subtask one. Identify a project. Then 5 marks, 10 minutes. It will not even take you 10 minutes to identify a project. If actually you've done your homework at home, right? Then from the list given above, you've seen the list, right? Choose a project or identify a project in your community that you would like to initiate to help your community. You will need to give your project a title and provide a brief explanation of the project you are choosing. Choose from the list you'll be provided, give it a name and describe it. Then you earn yourself 5 marks. How sweet it is. Very sweet. No sweat. Right? Every one of you should get that easily. It will not take you 5 minutes. Then subtask two. Identify project activities. You've identified the project. Now you need to identify the activities that needs to be done. It's easy, right? 5 activities of the project. Then, guys, listen, this is where students are messing up, right? When you look at this question, you got 10 marks. There are two things involved here. One, identify the task. You list the task as it is or as you may deem fit. Later, you prioritize the task. What do we mean by prioritizing? In terms of what needs to be done first. Then you arrange it in sequence. You list it first, then later you sequence it. 5 marks for the listing, 5 marks for the sequencing. Most students, from my experience, previous years, they will just list the task and run away. If you do that, I penalize you with that 5 marks. I will give you only 5 marks. Then you lose 5 marks. 5 marks is big, right? Okay, I'm not gonna remind you, né? I've said it, right? So you must capture it. Then subtask three. Subtask three. Identify project stakeholders. This is easy, man. Easy. I think you can even do it here. 10 minutes, you're done. Identify the project stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Like I explained to you, but now you must have known what stakeholders are. Stakeholders are people, it could be individual, it could be group of individuals, it could be organization that stands to benefit or lose as a result of the project. Based on that, you can be able to know who the stakeholders are. Right. Is that thing still working? Hello, monitor. Is it still working? Right. It's a great observer. I love what she's doing. Right. Okay, guys, Jonga, five, listen. There's a trick here as well. You need to be mindful of it. Otherwise, you lose some marks here. Internal, five internal and external stakeholders. Okay, let's make it like this. Okay, internal, you know internal stakeholders. Those ones that are directly involved in terms of running the project. Then the external could be, they are not directly involved, but they are key stakeholders as well, right? So let's take it like this. Those people that are running the project, you can classify them as internal. Then those ones that are outside, for example, you can even say sponsor because sponsor is not working on it, right? For example, let's say if it's an educational project, perhaps you can say Department of Education. It's not directly involved, but indirectly concerned as far as the interest being or having an interest in the project. But you know what I'm talking about. You must record the roles of the stakeholders. Record the roles of the stakeholders. So what you need to do is this. You formulate a kind of a column, right? In a tabular form. In a tabular form, like a table. You say name of stakeholders, then the other one rows, right? You can first of all say internal, you list it, then you write the rows. External, deliver, as you may deem fit. Right. Okay. Now, subtask 4, what are we saying there? Okay. Draw up a Gantt chart, 20 marks. Draw up a Gantt chart. What type of, you know what is a Gantt chart? Okay. The good news is this. The Gantt chart is not something that is not in form of a bar chart, right? You'll be provided um, certain things that you need to focus on, right? So what you do is you do a tabular form. You know what I mean tabular? Table, right? Draw a Gantt chart. The Gantt chart must include, for example, you say tax number. You can create a tax number by yourself, fictitiously, but it must be reasonable, right? You create a number, 001 or whatever, T001, G001, as you like, right? Then the task name, what is the name? You put it there. The estimated time for each task, you need to estimate how long it's going to take in terms of duration. Then the person who's responsible needs to be there, the resources. Resources that are required to execute the respective tasks needs to be there. Right. So, yeah. Then the person responsible for carrying out the task, the resources. So that's it. Okay. Now, time and location. This is the time that is allocated. When you look at it, it's 120 minutes. So, how many minutes per session here of your teaching? Is it not 1 hour or 50 minutes? Let's say 50 minutes. So, what it's going to do is 15 minutes, let's say, on average, we're going to take 3 sessions in the class. We're going to schedule it, right? 3 sessions. So the first one we identify is easy, but you could see this thing is easy. It's easy. If you can be able to do it in one session, we get done with it, right? In the class. The printout, you already got the printout here, which I'm going to distribute to you. It's a good news, right? So when you come there, perhaps next tomorrow or maybe next tomorrow as you like it, then you sit in the class, you complete it, you know it's done, it's done, without wasting time, right? So yeah, this is the rubric, right? The student has identified and researched on the name of the project, 5 marks, right? Then the student has the title and explanation is there. When the title is there, if your explanation is not compatible, then I will remove some marks. But when you get it correctly, I won't be stingy to give you the 5 marks. I'll give it to you. It's yours. When you earn it, I'm gonna give to you. Right. Then, yeah, the other one, identify the activities, then you prioritize. Like I said, you see, students have identified activities, 5 marks. Students have prioritized 5 marks. Then the 5 stakeholders are there, their roles are there. Good. Then you earn yourself another, perhaps, yeah, 15 marks. Then the Gantt chart. When you look at the Gantt chart, you must make sure that you see all these things. Where is the stuff? Look at the Gantt chart. The tax number. This is too cheap, man. You just say tax number, then you get 4 marks. I don't know who said this tax. It's from the department. How can you just say tax number, you write it down, you get 4 marks? It's too much. Look, the tax name, maximum of 4, right? That means the tax must be 4, right? You know what I'm talking about. Identify 4 tasks. Then, which one is that? Your phone. Okay, you must be mindful of your phone when you are in the class. You see now, they've started banning learners in high schools from using their phone. Yesterday I saw it on Radio France, not Radio France. This is a French TV. Kansby. They were showing Kansby. Say in South Africa now, they are now stopping learners from coming to school with their phone. Right. Okay, guys, this is how it is. Any question? Any doubt? You see? So this one is very cheap. Estimated time, when you put, guys, be careful. When you are allocating that time, it must be reasonable, right? Don't say, okay, for example, you say remove the papers, right, from the campus, the white papers or the debris from the campus. Then you say 20 days. It's not reasonable. You see? So when you are allocating time, it must be reasonable, right? Then the person responsible for the task. You see where I'm gonna get you again. Okay, no, not yet. Then the resources you must identify. So that's it. Then this is how where I'm going to put my marks, right? Then here you write your name and oh no, yeah, you need to sign. So that is how it is. Any question? Is it difficult? It's not difficult. So what you need to do now, you've seen the type of project, right? Do you want to take pictures of the type of project so that from home you can be able to formulate or to choose one? Perhaps you need that. Take note of, you can take photos of this. If they steal your bag, what you gonna say? Okay. Okay. Because what? No, you mustn't put it here. Huh? Yeah, I think you need that. So yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. So tomorrow I will give you the hard copy. You do it here. Right. What is your name? Butile. I used to have a student like you. Her name was Butile. Yeah. Okay. Can you know how to switch it off? Yeah, stop it. Just hold it. You need to press it hard.